Peace and light, family. It's your girl MC Genesis Blue, and we are back at it for another episode of the Blue Room Show. Now, you know me, I'm all about healing in different ways. As a licensed psychotherapist, I always find it interesting the different ways that people heal themselves. I, of course, am a champion of therapy, but I also believe in many other ways. I think whatever gets us aligned mentally, physically, and spiritually, that's the right way for us. So that might be therapy. That might be meditation, that might be yoga, or that might be this thing called ayahuasca. Okay, for all my people who have been interested in what this ayahuasca journey is all about, I have a treat for you today. I'm going to have a special guest on, and she is going to share her actual journey, experience, and understanding of what ayahuasca is. So, welcome to the Blue Room Show. Let's get it. Hi,
Hey, how are you?
Tara. What's up,
Hi.
girl? Let me tell you how I'm so pleased right now because, dude, I have been thinking and talking about this for so long. A few years back, maybe like 5 years, 4 or 5 years ago, man, I had a client in actual therapy, and she was coming to therapy for some other particular things happening within her career life, but she had also already gone on sort of a journey attending ayahuasca. And I was like, girl, I don't even know what that is. And she said, you don't know what that is? And she leaned in and we started talking about that during the session. I was like, that is so dope. And she was telling me about this. She flew to this other state by herself, left everything behind. She was at a stressful point in her life. She didn't know which direction she was going to go. And boom, she went to ayahuasca, said it was an exhilarating experience. So I was like, whoa, let's see what this is about. So fast forward to now, I see my girl Tara. She's like, oh, I've done that a couple of times actually, and I plan on going again. So I said, ooh, this is a sign that I need to get more information because I am seriously interested in this for myself and for my clients. So, Tara, oh my goodness, I'm really excited for you to be here. But first, just tell us a little bit about yourself and like, how did you find out about ayahuasca?
Oh man, I found out about it on Viceland.
Huh?
They
Okay.
have a documentary on Viceland called Kentucky Ayahuasca.
Okay.
And I started watching it and I was like, this is crazy. I feel like this is what I need. And
Dope.
so from
Okay.
that documentary, there were more and more. And I was like, oh man, one day I'm going to travel to Peru and I'm going to go do this.
Ooh,
And so it had been
Peru.
maybe like
Ooh.
a year's worth of, or maybe 2 years worth of research, not extensive research, but just kind of figuring out where I wanted to go if I ever had the money to go.
Ah, so you took your time with it. You researched it. You found out
Hmm.
where you would want to go because it's in various places. There is some here, even in the states, but a lot of people go out of the country, right? And so you were
Yeah,
interested in out of country travel.
I was because I wanted an authentic experience. I wanted to be
Okay.
respectful of the native culture. Also, the vine that is used to create the ayahuasca is endangered. So I wanted to be very respectful.
Wow. Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, let's go back before we get to the actual journey of that. There was a point where you decided that this was for you. Can you tell us a little bit about what was going on in your life at the time and what made you like say, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah, I had a a terrible breakup. I'm talking about a bad one.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I was already in therapy trying to work through my own issues and I really felt like things were just moving too slow
Okay.
and really felt to blame for the collapse of my relationship. So I wanted to work on my contribution. But I found myself becoming more and more depressed as the relationship crumbled apart. And, and I felt like I was doing everything I could do at the time. And I needed to just come back off the ledge because I was starting to get pretty desperate in like, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to make it to the next day, and things like that. And I
Wow.
was getting a lot of support here. I was in therapy and I had a caseworker, and shout out to 988. They gave me the support I needed. So if you're scared of calling,
Beautiful.
don't be. It was an extremely good experience, and they
So in
gave me
other
the help
words,
that I needed.
you were a very dark point in your
Mhm.
life. We're talking probably depression, anxiety, or a culmination of both of those things or all of
Yeah.
those things, and but you were seeking treatment for yourself, you were getting help, but it was still a very
Yeah.
tough time. Essentially, you were in a very dark place in your life. You kind of, it was probably hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel at that time. I'm sure you were experiencing depression and anxiety, but at the same time, you knew you needed help. You were seeking therapy and things like that, right? So then how does ayahuasca enter into your life?
Yeah. So I think it's important to note that I have been in therapy all my life, since I was a child. And so therapy is not something I'm afraid of. I can easily identify when I'm spiraling down or when I'm in the danger zone. And of course, like I said, I knew to call 988 if I was, feeling too bad. But the recovery was difficult. In the county that I'm in, I didn't, even though I had good support from 988, I just felt like it was moving too slow for the pace of the problems that were happening to me. And so I felt like I needed to do something immediate. And I had heard that ayahuasca is like doing years of therapy in a weekend. And
Yes, I've
that's the
heard the
pace
same
that I felt
thing.
like I needed to be. And so instead of going overseas, which I couldn't afford at the time, I looked for someplace local and came across this place called Soul Quest, which I had seen on a documentary on Netflix. And so that's where I went because they do it every weekend.
Whoa, you can really just pop in on the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, it's not cheap. And like,
Yeah,
quite
we'll
frankly,
get
they are
into
shut
that in a
down right
minute.
now, but
Yeah, we'll get into
it,
that in a minute.
yeah.
I know it ain't cheap, girl. That's why it's like yeah, we'll talk about that. But yeah, okay. So you said, okay, I'm in the therapy. I'm doing all I can, but I think I need something more, something maybe just different, right? Because yeah, there's a such thing as
Mhm.
we've been going to therapy so long that we need a break or we need to try something different. There's nothing wrong with that. So you
You
do
know,
it.
I can tell you the point. I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to tell you the point when I decided to do this.
Yes.
I had a caseworker that was assigned to me from 988, and she would come over to my house every week. And, I had been prescribed medication, which I had been on medication before, but, fine, whatever. Whatever's going to save my life. And
Yes.
she
That's
told
right.
me it's very likely that you will have to be on this medication for the rest of your life. And I was like, I can't do that. I got to do
Very
something
good.
else.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was
Okay.
the
That
moment when I
makes
was like,
sense.
this is not going to work for me.
Yeah, and like you said, I have nothing to lose by trying. Worst case scenario, you can go back to the other options, but I have
Right.
nothing to lose by giving it a shot. Absolutely. Okay, so we pulled the coins together. We found a local location that we could go to, and we did it. Okay, now let's get into it. So,
Now,
walk us a little bit through it. What was it like? Tell me.
oh man. Okay, so I have to start before I even got there. And
Okay.
so a good sign of that you're doing this with people that care about you is the way that they prepare you for it.
Okay.
And so I'll be fully transparent. So you have to get off of whatever you're on. If you're on medication, if you're taking drugs, you're smoking weed, smoking cigarettes, get off of all of it. You're eating meat,
Let it all go.
get it off. If you're having sex, you got to stop. And so you basically go on a month-long diet. They call it a dieta. And
Oh,
you have
wait, this is
to,
before you go.
just before you
It's
go.
a
So,
cleansing. I love this.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Got you. Yes, ma'am.
And so if you're on any kind of antidepressants, you have to stop like way before because, it can actually kill you, those chemicals reacting with each other. And that's going to be important later. But so there are some downsides if you are schizophrenic, this, you can't even do it. And so you want to really make sure you're sitting with people who are going to keep you medically and spiritually safe.
That's right.
Um, So I did the diet, and I really want to hone in on this. If you are smoking weed, you need to get off of it,
No
and you need to
games.
stay
Don't
off.
play.
Don't play with it.
Okay, okay,
So
okay. Good to know.
I got off everything. I was clean. I even, I did. It was so hard because I was so hungry. I did the vegetarian
Oh.
diet, and I arrived there from in Orlando. And so you come on a Friday, you leave on Sunday. I got there hungry because you don't want to eat anything the day of.
Oh.
And yeah, because you're gonna go straight into a ceremony when you get there.
Jeez. Okay.
So you
Whew. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so you arrive
Okay.
around 3 o'clock, and the first ceremony starts at 6. You get there, you check in, and one of the most important things you do is a health screening. And they're asking
Okay.
you, what medication are you on? What other things are you on? What have you done in the past? What dietary restrictions are? They're asking you everything because their motto is, if you lie, you die. So if you on some medication and
Ooh.
you don't tell them, and that stuff starts reacting with that plant medicine, you're liable, not them. But they did have like a lot of medical staff there. So you have to talk to a nurse. They take your blood pressure. They do the whole nine. And so after you do check in and do all that, you go to your accommodation. So wherever you're sleeping at night after you journey. So you could be sleeping in a trailer that they have, a nice one. It could be in a large room with other people. It could be 30 other people. Or it could be in a smaller room with about 15 other people. It could be outside on a mat. You
Oh man.
choose and you pay for whatever you want your accommodation to be, to sleep.
Got you. Okay. Okay.
So I chose to be in the group area because they were like, if you're a first timer, you probably want to be with the group because there's,
Yeah.
volunteers there to help you, and just a lot of people there. And that's where the music is, the live music. So I'm like, okay, I
Okay.
like music. Okay, cool. So I get in my mat, and I'm telling you, these mats are like the most comfortable mats I have ever laid on. They're better than
Nice.
a mattress. It was
Yeah.
fantastic. So I got
Whoa. Uh huh.
and I lay down, and so it's like a big circle, and there's like a pit in the middle, and it has like, I don't know, candles and just random stuff. I don't think any of it is utilized. Well, I don't know what it's used for. Anyway, it's a big circle. It's called a maloka. And
Okay.
you'll see this
Okay.
at like anywhere you do ayahuasca is like this big circular like room. And so when you walk in to find your place, there's like a video of Gabor Mate. I don't know if you know who that is, but
No.
he's
Who is that?
talking. Okay, so Gabor Mate is a doctor that specializes in addiction. And his philosophy is that ayahuasca is one of the leading ways to, kind of overcome addiction because it rewires
Okay.
your brain.
Okay.
And so you come in and you're, finding your spot, and he's talking about, how ayahuasca can help you. And once that video is over, they come in and they do a prayer because it is a church. Because in order for this to
Okay.
be
Good to
legal,
know. Okay. Good to
and
know. Okay.
they're
Okay.
trying to get like the religious exemption to be able to do this. This is like peyote.
Yes.
Um, so
Oh.
they say a prayer, and the prayer is basically like, what are your intentions for coming here? What do you want to get out of this? So you really want to think about what you're coming there for. I want to be healed of my addiction. I want to stop drinking. I want whatever it is that you want, you will get it. So everybody says what they're coming there for, and then we get ready for ceremony.
So you
So
could be like, I wanna find peace. I want to
yeah,
know
I
what
want to
I'm
get
supposed to be
over.
doing with my life. Okay.
Yeah, I
Anything.
was coming to get
Okay.
over a relationship. The man next to me had a twin who died, and he wanted to speak to him. Um, my best friend came with me the second time I went, and she wanted to know what she was doing with her life. She's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm
To
going. I need
do.
help. I need guidance. So you can come there with
Clarity.
whatever
Yeah.
intention. Clarity, yeah. So you really want, and so, be, before you go find your spot, you also talk to somebody who works at the church, just to kind of, if you're a new person, to help you like answer any questions you have, like, are you scared, what should I do? And I was really scared, and he was like,
Me too. I'm scared
when
now. Yeah.
you yeah, I was like, I'm really scared, like, I don't know nobody here. And he was like, don't worry, we'll take care of you. All you have to do is surrender, have an intention, and ask the Mother Aya, who is the spirit in the medicine, ask her for mercy. Ask her to ease you in and you'll be fine. And I was just like, okay, sounds stupid. And so, yeah. So I'll pause there and see if you got any questions.
No, no, it just sounds intense. It sounds
It,
intense.
it
I
is
mean, I think
intense.
for me,
It's
I'm
just,
very terrified because I don't do drugs as it is. I don't even smoke weed or anything or do or drink alcohol. So to me, going into that space and never having done any, never having been high in a sense, that freaking scares me. Was everybody in there scared?
oh, yeah. Everybody was
At least you're
terrified.
not alone then,
Um,
right?
I'll say that, for the people that have done drugs before, I haven't done a whole lot of them. But it is, so if you're just a regular old pothead, it is unlike, it's not like
Okay.
that. It's
It's nothing like that.
absolutely, no. I think other people that were there were trying to compare it to other drugs they've done. And I think the ones that they compared it to was like acid or
Whoa,
just like
like
DMT.
intense stuff. Uh huh.
Yeah. And so it's like DMT
Hallucinogens,
will give
probably
you the same thing, but
hallucinogens.
it'll give it to you in 15 minutes. And ayahuasca lasts for 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours.
No, wait a minute. And you knew that going in, you was ready. 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah, I'd done the research. I knew that there was a woman that you would speak to because everybody sees her. Like, I knew what to expect to a certain degree. I just didn't know what type of experience I would have because if you watch Kentucky ayahuasca, you can see that people are terrified, like they're really really scared for real. And the other thing is that everybody throws up. So
We're
when
gonna puke, guys.
when I
Okay,
talk
got it.
about people throwing up, usually people are like, "Oh no, I don't want to do this anymore."
Oh, it's just
So
puke. It's just vomit. Yeah. You'll be all
I
right.
mean, but it's not, people think of like getting drunk and throwing up or being sick and throwing up, but this type of vomit is not the same. It actually feels
Interesting.
good because you literally feel like you're throwing up all the bad
A
things in your
release.
life.
Wow. Ooh, I got goosebumps on that. That's cool. Okay. Okay. So they prepare you as much as they can because you're still going to be terrified
Mhm.
if you've never done it. Okay. So they have the talk, they lead you in.
Mhm.
Okay. Then what?
So they sage you down.
Nice.
And so they have this pot and they feather sage all over you. They spray Florida water on your hands and you kind of wipe yourself with it. And then you get a cup and it has about 2 tablespoons of ayahuasca in it. And this is something that
Okay.
they've brewed like in the back somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
they get a
Yeah.
concentrated amount and then they brew it with the other vines because it's a brew of multiple vines, but one of those vines has psychoactive stuff in it. And
Gotcha.
so it's brown, it's sweet, and it tastes like mud and bark. So it
Okay.
is. I mean, a lot of people ask what it tastes like because it looks like it tastes bad. I wouldn't say it tastes bad. It just tastes like what it looks like. It tastes like mud.
Yeah. Yeah. You can just get
But
it.
it is
You can
sweet
get it down
because
pretty easy.
there's a vine in there. So you
Okay.
basically, you think about your intention and you gulp it down.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was the same exact experience. You've done it twice, yeah. And so it was the
Okay. So
same
I've been to
exact
two
thing.
retreats,
Okay.
and each retreat guarantees you two ceremonies. So you have one that Friday night and another on Saturday night, and then
Okay.
Sunday you go home. But
Okay.
you can purchase an additional Saturday morning ceremony for an extra $200, and that one is totally worth it. So if Soul Quest ever comes back, do it.
Okay.
Um, and so you can get three in one weekend. So I've
Yeah.
done the retreat twice, so I've done it 6 times total.
Wow. So it's not too bad where you didn't want to go again, honey. Where some people like, oh, I don't want to do this no more. I'm good. To send me home.
No, I
No, nobody.
That was me. The second
Oh,
time I went, I got dragged. I'm talking about dragged to hell. And I
oh,
literally was rocking in a corner and I was like, I can't do it again. I can't do it
okay,
again.
okay,
I want to go home. I'm okay with throwing my money away and skipping this last one because I can't do it again. And it was the man sitting next to me that was like, you can do it. And I was like,
okay. Wait,
okay. And I can tell you, it was the
wait.
most beautiful thing I've ever been through.
Okay, so now I got an. I like. Are you willing to tell us like what do you mean by you were dragged to hell? What happened?
Okay. Well, the first time I went, like I was advised, I said, he was like, when you, after you take it, you're going to start seeing colors and blah, blah, blah. When you talk to her or when you hear something talking to you, make sure you ask who it is and let her
Okay,
respond to you. And it's going to be a woman. She's going to tell you who she is. And and you
okay.
can ask her anything and she will tell you. And I was like, okay. And so that's what I did. When I heard something talking to me that sounded like me, I said, who is this? And she said, just listen to the music. So they play a playlist. It's not like real folk music like you get when you go overseas. It's a playlist and it's loud
Okay.
and it
Okay.
enhances the experience. So she told me, one of the first things she said was, you've gone away from the music. Listen to the music. And
Music.
then and she told me to lay down and lay back. And when I did that, and I started what I thought was daydreaming, but I was having visions.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Uh-huh.
And everything was dark. It was like I closed my eyes, and maybe I'm pretty sure my eyes were closed, but I wasn't in the room anymore.
Okay.
And I never saw her either. Some people
Okay.
say they saw her and she looks Native American, she looks like Mother Nature. I don't know. I never saw her, but I saw myself, and I wasn't, yeah, I'm assuming it was my spirit.
Yes, yes.
And she was holding me. I couldn't see her. I know I'm about to cry, but anyway,
Oh,
I
it's
couldn't
so
see her.
beautiful. Please, yeah. Take your time. Yeah.
And I was so distraught at the time. I just felt like I just needed to rest. And that's what she told me to do. She told me to lay back and close my eyes. And
Yeah.
she was like, you've gone away from the music. And so the music was important because I am a musician. I come from a musical family and I
Yeah.
haven't played in a long time. And that was like the only way I was able to express myself as a child. And I hadn't been able to express myself. And so she was telling me to just listen. She was like, I'm going to take you on a journey. And so she like took my hand and the music started to play. I couldn't hear the music at all while she was talking to me. And so the music started to play and it was good. I was like, damn, this playlist is fire.
You knew what I liked. Yeah.
This playlist is fire. And so, like I said, the music is meant to enhance your experience. It's supposed to help
Okay.
you, aid you in the journey.
Got you.
And when you go into the jungle, you're going to hear like they're called Icaros, and they're like the native music and instruments and singing to help you. But because this was in the US, they have a playlist of like really good, good songs
Oh, did we lose
to
her?
help aid you in what you're going to go through. It helps kind of get you through the curve, I guess. And so as I was listening, I mean, the music really spoke to me to a point where I got out a pen and paper and started writing stuff down. And I didn't know what I was writing. It was pitch black. I couldn't see anything. Okay. She
Yep. And
really
when you were writing
emphasized,
you heard some music. You heard the
oh,
music. You
yeah, I
start
heard some,
writing it down.
the playlist was fire. And I I started, I mean, this is the notebook. I started writing down blind lyrics in the dark, and
Whoa.
I didn't know what I didn't know what they were. Some of the songs were in Sanskrit, some of the song, and I know this now, but I didn't know at the time. Some of the songs were most of the songs were in Spanish, so I could understand some of the words. Some were in English, and some were in Yoruba.
Mm.
So I thought it was interesting, like the diversity in what I was hearing, but like it was really good too. So I'm like, okay. And then some of it was just like no lyrics, but just like what I call it, the work.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
after you start seeing the little lights and stuff, and you
Okay.
have your little conversation, it starts to get real scary.
Okay. That's when the scary. Okay.
It
Okay.
started to get
Uh-huh.
scary after that. So luckily, this particular ceremony, I had asked for mercy because that's what I was told to ask for from jump. And she was just kind of, letting me float along. And then I did that for hours and just kind of listened to the music. It was very peaceful. And I was like, okay, this is fun. This is
This is
nice. I'm
fun.
seeing
Yeah.
little stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then like she would talk to me in between the music. And then I was like, I asked again, who is this? Why do you sound like me? And she was like, because I am you.
Okay. Okay.
So I was like, okay. And I was like, well, so I drifted off to sleep again. And I had a dream that I was walking through a village and I was looking for something, but I didn't know what. And so I met some villager who was like, "Oh, it's over here." And when I got there, whatever I was looking for was a gumball machine. And when I turned the knob, those little eggs came out, and I opened it, and it was a note, and it
Okay.
was like, "I am you." And so I
Whoa.
was just like, "Okay."
Uh-huh. Wow. Okay. Okay.
So I woke up from that one. That was really pleasant. I woke up the next day, basically 6 o'clock in the morning, um, and it
So
was
the
very
first
nice. I
experience
was
was
hungry.
pretty chill. Yeah, it was pretty chill that first
Yeah, it
experience.
was very chill. I was like, okay, it is something in here. Okay, nice. And I was distraught, so I spent most of that time crying and
Mm-hmm.
just being very emotional. As I was going through, now when you go through the ceremony, there are volunteers there, like people who literally sign up to watch over you all night long.
Okay.
So there's
Wow.
somebody sitting at basically like four corners of the circular room, and there's like a bunch of volunteers that are basically praying over people, helping them if because people are throwing up everywhere, all around you. At some point,
Okay.
when the scary music comes on, as I'm having these very peaceful visions, everybody around me is throwing up. I eventually throw up towards the
Oh,
end
okay.
of the night.
So
But I mean,
you
that's a
remember it.
major.
You remember throwing up.
Oh, yeah. I will never forget it. It is unlike any other throw up that I've had before that or after. I'll never forget it
Wow.
because
And
it
that was on
wasn't
the
bad.
first time. That was the first time. But every time you've thrown up
Every
every time you've
time.
done.
Well, no, I don't
So
want to say that.
so
Some of the
six
ceremonies I
times,
did not
right?
throw up.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay. So about out of the six times, at least half of those times you threw up.
Out of the six times, I've thrown up four.
Okay. Okay. So
But I do
so
want
it's
to
pretty
preface
certain
that
that
it
you're
is
gonna vomit. You can count on
it's
vomiting.
almost 100% certain. I would say it's 90% certain that you're going to throw up. There's a reason why I didn't throw up. And if you're not throwing up, it's probably coming out the other end. And
Oh, you lying.
yeah. And
Oh my God. Okay, girl.
it's just a
Okay.
very unpleasant. One
Yeah.
of the ceremonies, I was literally in the bathroom holding on to the stove, and
Wait,
I
wait. Okay,
literally
I'm
was
trying to
begging
understand
for
this.
mercy.
So Tara, so you're there but you're not there? How can you are you checking in and out of reality or consciousness? I'm trying to understand cuz how would you know?
Yeah,
Okay, so pretty much.
you
Okay.
can't walk. So that's number one. That's why you have to have the volunteers, because if you need to go to the bathroom, first of all, if you can't go to the bathroom, they're going to put a diaper on you. That's number one.
I'm
But
I'm gonna take the
if
dice
you
one. I
need to
ain't
go
gonna
to the
lie.
bathroom,
Yeah.
no. I was
Okay, but
I said I need to go. And
uh-huh.
somebody will literally come pick you, two people will come pick you up and walk you to the bathroom, which is basically a trailer. Like this place is outside, so it's like
Okay.
camping.
Yeah.
So you're in a like a man-made stall,
Uh-huh.
and I was in there full of drugs. I was in the middle of my ceremony, and
This is
bathroom.
great. This is
I
so
was
great.
so scared. I was
Yeah.
seeing visions. I was I had to it was coming out like diarrhea and I was
Whoa.
scared. I literally was in there like, please stop. I literally was saying out loud, please stop. I'm scared. Like I
Okay.
can't, I'm terrified. And
Okay.
the lady
So
was
this is
waiting on
this
me
the
like,
part is this the part where you felt like you were being dragged to hell or we didn't get there yet?
that was one of them. That it was gonna get worse after that. That's what I didn't know. And so
Okay. Okay.
it was gonna get much worse after
Uh,
that. And so
Oh
the ladies, like
no.
the volunteers wait on you to come back from the bathroom and then they help you walk back to, your mat. And also it was like 30 degrees in Florida. It was like a freeze going on. So outside the wind was blowing and it was cold and I was in there
Wow.
freezing. It was crazy. It was
Oh my gosh.
crazy. By the time I got back to my mat, I was like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this anymore.
But you
This
can't.
is
You
not.
can't tap out. It's already in your
You
system,
can't
right?
tap out. Once you're in there
Yeah.
in, it's like being in
You
a
gotta
game.
finish.
You can
Yeah. Yeah.
you gotta get
You just
jumped out. And so I just laid there angry. I was mad because I was like, this is
wow.
not the experience. And this is the second time I went. So I had already had very nice experience the first three times. And I was like, this is some bull. Like
Hmm.
I done pooped my pants and got stuck in the bathroom. I spent half the time in the bathroom.
Dang.
So I was mad. And so I paid when I woke up that next morning, I paid for the morning ceremony like I had done the first time, and it was fantastic. That morning ceremony I did the first time, a little frog jumped in my hand from the because
Oh.
you're outside on the ground
Okay.
in the middle, like in the daytime, and so a little frog jumped on my hand. It was beautiful. I was ready for that again because I was like, last night I got dragged, so I know I'm gonna have a good experience when I, go outside and do it again.
Yeah. So so how do we link this to your intention? Like what does this all have to do? So your original intention was to get over a relationship, get
To
yourself
get
better
over it.
mentally. How does that
Yes.
connect?
She was able to allow me to speak to spirits of people during
Oh,
that first retreat.
oh wow.
So she showed me ancestors of mine. Now, I didn't get to speak to them, I saw them. I only got to speak to
Okay.
the people who were living, which is
I,
weird.
oh, that's interesting.
Um,
So not the deceased
yeah, so
people.
that's how I know like there's a spirit world and it's not just full of dead people.
Okay. Okay.
It's
Okay.
people are able to go back and forth. Um,
Oh.
just like I had just gone and
Whoa.
left.
Whoa. Okay.
And yeah, it's the whole yes, there's more on that. I have more hot takes
Yeah.
on that. But
So the
people
spirits, so the spirits that were alive were the ones you could talk to, and they
yeah,
gave
or
you
to
words of
spoke to me. Yes.
encouragement. They gave you words of encouragement, or what?
Um the one person I talked to had one sentence. And so this person I was breaking up with, his father was there. And his father is an
Okay.
older man and a Colombian man at that. And some of this stuff comes from Peru and Colombia.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so he was there and he's alive. He's the only live person that I was able to see. And I saw him multiple times. And
Mm-hmm.
he would say, like, I know what you're doing for my son, or I don't want him to go down the same road I did in whatever, way he says it. And so, but everybody else I saw didn't move, didn't talk. It was like snapshots of them. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I wasn't able to speak to them. They weren't able to speak to me, but
Mm-hmm.
I saw them. I saw people I'd never seen before, but looked
Uh-huh.
like people in my family.
Got you. So you know they were
Mhm.
ancestors. Okay. Oh, that's
Yeah, I know
beautiful.
they were like a
So
few
by then
generations
you're,
up.
yeah, by then you're a big ball of emotions then, right?
Yeah, so
Because you're
I'm
seeing
like
all of it.
crying. I'm like, who are these people? And then I asked her during that first weekend, I was like, who else can I bring here so they can see this? And she
Mhm.
gave me names. She gave me names of people. And I specifically asked about one person in particular, my mother. And she said, she's not ready. And I was surprised because me and my
Oh,
mom didn't have a good relationship at the time. And so I let it
ooh.
go.
Okay.
And so through that, I came home and I just was at peace. I came home and I didn't feel like I can't make it another day. I came home and
Mm,
I felt hopeful. I felt like I need to
yeah.
connect more with my family and
Well,
tell
it
them how much I love them.
yes. It makes you
And it
see
was
the big
just,
picture. It makes you see the big picture
yeah,
that
I
we
felt
often,
hopeful.
yes, that we often lose sight of the big picture. This is bigger than me.
Mhm.
Like it's
And
not
being
all about
alive
me.
and being loved.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
okay if people don't love you right
Come on.
now or see the
Come on,
love
somebody.
in you. You got to pray for those
Mhm.
people. So that's how I felt. But then I
Yeah.
came home and they tell you this, you're going to go home back to the same stuff
Yeah.
that you just left.
Okay.
And it's going to be hard because right now you're feeling what they call the pink cloud, and
Okay.
everything is love and light. And you just seen these miraculous things and you're trying to process and you're applying them. But then you go home and you're going back to your toxic boyfriend, to the drugs, to whatever you came here to get away from. And
Mhm.
so you have to do the integration to kind of keep you in that mind state. And so when I came home, I was right back in the BS again. And more problems came and piled
Yeah.
on. And I went back in December. I went the first time in October and went back again in December or January,
Okay.
one of the two.
So essentially it's like a reset. Each time you need
It
to,
is a
you can
reset,
go and get your reset and then have more energy or the capacity to fight another day.
but it resets the way that you think.
Yeah.
Like I stopped being so reactive
Okay.
and just started to see things differently. I started to, that's when my faith was challenged initially because I'm a
Ooh.
Christian. Not only that, but I'm a Catholic at that. And so, I've just seen people I've never seen before.
Yeah.
And, of course, I went back home and I told my dad and I told my friends and I told the people who I was assigned to bring back.
Oh.
And I told them everything. And so when I went back again, I took my best friend who was named in this. And she was like, I've been doing the research too. And I want to figure out what's going on in my life. I'll go with you.
Beautiful. Hmm.
And she came and she got an amazing experience. And like I said, I got dragged. That time I was like, I want to go deeper. I
Oh.
got the training
So
wheels
you
this
asked
time.
for
This
it.
time
So you asked for it.
I did ask for it and got my edges snatched. Okay.
Jesus.
I literally was crying. I was in a ball. That morning ceremony, the second time, was the worst thing I had probably ever done in my life. I had to face all the bad things I had done in my life. I
Mm.
had to
Wow.
mourn. I had to scream. I had to cry. I
Wow.
had mucus coming out of my nose. I
Mm.
was throwing up anything, and I didn't have anything because I hadn't even eaten. I had
Mm.
just had diarrhea the night before.
Mm.
Woke up and went back into another ceremony. So it was like I have nothing left. And I
Mm.
remember like the volunteers came over because I was like, I am just so distraught. And she was like rubbing my back and she was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I don't feel good. I'm scared. It's going so fast. And she was like, you need to surrender, let go, stop
Okay.
fighting. And I was like, I'm scared. It's like going on a roller coaster. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
scared. And she
Yeah.
was like, it's okay. You have to let go. And I was like, I feel like I'm going to throw up. And as soon as I threw up, I felt a million times better. And I looked up and she was gone.
Oh
And then I
wow.
laid there and she was like, you have a gift. the voice in my head. I laid there terrified, and she was just like, "You have a gift." And what else did she say? Oh, she says you had to mourn your family, the
Mm,
family I had built with my
come on, Father.
ex-boyfriend, the blended family. And she was like, you have to mourn that. You, and she said, you and he as he will never be. I still to
Whoa.
this day don't know I mean, I can guess what it means. I still don't really have an idea. But at the end of the day, it's a wrap. But I had to let it go. And it was extremely hard. And I'm talking about it broke me down. And so once I woke up, I spent the rest of the day like literally traumatized. And that's when I was like, I'm not doing it again. Like I had a bad time last
I'm
time. I
done.
had a bad time
Uh-huh.
before that. I'm
Okay.
done. And that's when the man was like, you only got one left. He was like, you can do it.
Just go ahead and knock it
And
out.
man, it was so beautiful.
You
And
needed
it
it.
that was the one that unlocked all these things for me.
Got you. Okay. Okay.
All the
Okay.
perspective, all of the first time was great, but that last time explained who I was and what I'm
Uh-huh.
here for.
Okay.
And it told me things that I had never heard before, languages I had never heard before. And when I woke
Wow.
up, I looked them up and they were real. And I don't know anything about it. And I know it didn't come from me, my conscious mind. So it just opened and at this point, like I'm aware that there's something more than my faith going
Come on,
on
somebody. That's all
in
I'm
this
saying.
world.
Yeah. Oh
Is
man.
more the planets, the nature, and I'm also an Eastern Star, so this is something that I've always researched. So
Got
I can see it now, and it's just we're just not paying attention. We don't
you.
need the
Well,
dogma.
well, also that like you got to think about human beings. We don't even use but a small percentage of our brain. We don't even
Right.
unlock any power. And so it sounds like this awakens things in us that are just lying dormant. That's what
Hmm.
we've been used to. But there's a whole nother level to unlock. This is so cool. Okay, guys, we're gonna take a break and come back and kind of talk about the aftermath and some implications
Yes.
associated with this. But you are watching the Blue Room Show. We'll be right back. And we are back. We are on the Blue Room Show, and we're having a spiritual experience right here. Okay, we're unlocking another level. We're talking about ayahuasca with my girl Tarah. If you don't know what that is, start it from the beginning and listen again, because this is definitely something I think that people are going to be talking about more and more. So, Tara, as we hop back in, I want you to tell me about you said therapeutically, because it sounds like there's elements of therapy also within it. It's a therapeutic intervention, in other words, right? And so you had struggled with depression, anxiety, maybe a bunch of other stuff all of your life. And I think you reported to me that you don't feel those things as much anymore or at all. Can you tell me about that?
Man, so that was an unintended like residual benefit. Um, Gabor Mate talks a lot about depression and what causes addiction. It's the depressing of emotions, and we use these substances to depress our emotions, which causes depression, right? It's a vicious cycle. And he has said, ayahuasca breaks that cycle because it rewires your brain to think in a different way, which and allows you to emote the things that you need to get out. And I was like, that sounds great, whatever. I didn't come here for that. So, the first time I saw no change really in, my depressive episodes and anxiety. I was in the thick of, major shifts in my life.
Okay.
But the second time I went back, nothing had really changed about my situation. I was still in like a very dangerous and difficult situation. When I came back after that last ceremony, I was so at peace.
Mm.
Um, After that last ceremony, everything changed for me in terms of the way that I saw help, in terms of like who's assisting me. And then I was shown so many things about myself and why I do the things that I do, and I felt empowered. I
Okay.
felt like a good person, and I felt like I had a purpose, and I felt like my suffering was not suffering. It was given to me in order to move me in a particular direction. And
Ooh.
so
Mhm.
once I rethought the way that I handle the challenges, I began to worry less.
It frees.
The worry just went
It
away.
frees you. It frees you because we are taught to sort of have a victim mentality, right? Everything's being
Man, I used to
done.
cringe at that victim
Come on,
mentality, but
somebody.
that's what it really is.
That's what it
Things
actually
are
is,
not
right? Yeah.
happening to you.
It's happening for you.
This all sounds cliche, and I didn't
It
understand
sounds
it until
cliche,
after
but
I
I
did
know
this.
it. Yeah, yeah. No, it's the
It all
truth.
makes sense now.
This is the same thing I try to talk to people about in therapy, but you're right. When you have an experience like that, that is completely is not planned, you literally don't know what's gonna happen, and you have that experience, it opens your eyes like, oh, I'm actually not a victim. Actually, I'm totally fine. Shit is gonna happen. Like shit's gonna happen. We're gonna go through shit. That doesn't make us a victim. Yeah, I love that
I
conversation.
mean, she told me things about myself. It was like she did a highlight reel in this last
Mm.
ceremony of my life, and all the good things that I had done for people that I'd never spoken about, no one ever knew. She was like, there's a reason why you do this.
Wow.
And the reason was crazy. Like the reason
I love
the
that.
reason was crazy. But she had said things I had never heard before, and names I'd never heard of, and things, languages I had never heard of. And she was like, you need to accept this about yourself. This is
Mm,
you. And you're here to do the healing. This has been assigned to you, and you can
there you go.
handle it. And you
There you
have
go.
all these people, the people that she showed me before, that are here to assist you.
Behind you. Ooh, that's so good, girl. That's good.
And so
So,
she's
and
like, when all this, and she told me to go home and do very specific things that I've never done before, things that were real, a different religion, an ancestral religion. And that I feel like is what sustained me from the imminent, like the immediate danger I was in. But it also helped put me in a mind state where I was able to accept the challenges. I knew that I could handle the challenges. I had already had to wean myself off of my medication to go to the ceremony. And we're
yeah.
talking about Wellbutrin,
Mm-hmm.
all, the
Mm-hmm.
depressive medication,
Yeah.
depression and anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
bupropion,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
gone.
Yeah, they
I
had you on
never needed
strong
it
stuff.
again.
Yeah, it was the strong stuff.
I
Okay,
never
yeah.
needed it again. I
I
haven't been
never
on
took
it
it
since.
again. Disclaimer, people, we're not telling you to go throw your medication
Oh
away right
no.
now.
And
These
that
are
was the
it's
thing.
truly
Like,
a whole
I
process
told
and
my
journey that you
psychiatrist I
went
was
through.
doing this, and she was
Yeah,
like,
okay.
take it if you need it. And I have just never needed any. So I'm very self-aware when I'm spiraling. So I know when I need to take some medication.
There you
I
go.
just
Mm-hmm.
haven't, I had a lot of bad things happen after that, out of my control, not even dealing with the relationship. And I have been able to weather those storms
And there you go.
unmedicated and coping in a way that is
Yeah.
healthy, and for the first time in my life.
Yeah. And that's because it's sort of unlike, again, a lot of the concepts that we teach in therapy, it seems like it physically manifests there, because what you did was figure out what radical acceptance is. Now, we try to teach
Mm,
people radical acceptance, but that experience allows you to really understand the concept of radical acceptance, surrendering. It is what it
mm.
is, kind of thing. And once you get that, this is what I tell people all the time. So once you get that, nothing can really shake you. Because you, at the end of the
Yeah,
day,
the
you're
way
in
that
high
you're
acceptance.
excited about what I just said is how my
Mhm.
therapist is excited when the things sink in.
When it, yeah, when
And
it clicks, come
so
on.
it
Yeah, when it clicks. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, and so it's really, I had a therapist that I was seeing the first time I did this, and she didn't like what I was doing. She didn't I told her
Mm.
what I wanted to do, and she was like, "I highly advise you not play around with
Wow.
demons."
Wow.
And, I love me a black therapist. We would kiki it up.
Thank you.
But I definitely I don't I just think that this isn't for everybody.
That's right.
And if
It's not.
you
It's not.
are
Hmm.
holding tightly to your faith, I think this is going to be a challenge. I am somebody who's very open. Like I said, I'm an
See?
Eastern star,
Right.
and I can see, many things that are going on that a lot of people haven't seen or paid attention to.
Okay.
But this was an experience on a different level, I mean, my mind was blown so many times, and my mind is still
Mm.
blown.
Yeah. I like
And
this. Yeah.
if you tried everything, try this. That's all I can say.
That's what I'm saying. So I love that you kind of segued into, yeah, it's not going to be for everybody, because to your point, a lot of people just aren't ready or are never going to be ready for something like this. So
Mhm.
let's just know that right straight away, that everybody is not for everybody. And then there's also the subject of cost. It's my understanding it's super expensive. The client that I had that went, like, it was thousands of dollars. She had a really good
Mhm.
job. She could pick up and leave. And so it's also like a thing where
It's a
you got to
privilege.
have the money.
Mhm.
Huh?
Yeah. Soul Quest was $1,000 for a
That's not bad
weekend,
at all.
which was
What?
pretty cheap compared to
That's
going
cheap.
to another country,
That's cheap. Yeah,
where you
because
have
you
to
got
pay
to
for
pay
your
for your
flight and
travel.
you got to pay $2,000 or $3,000. But the
That's
thing
not
is, when
bad
you're
at all.
paying big money like that, they're not just doing ayahuasca. They may be doing like other things, other plant medicine with you.
Got
They
you.
may be giving you some luxuries like flower baths and
Got you.
other things to
So it
kind
becomes like a
of
spa or a resort,
yeah. And I
essentially.
didn't want that.
I just
I'm
want
coming here to do
everything.
some
Okay.
work.
Thank you for sharing that. That's
Okay,
very helpful. That's very helpful.
so you
Okay.
really
Mhm.
yeah, so the cost, I mean, I would be concerned paying anything less than $1,000 because it's like, okay,
Absolutely.
you could
Or
be
you could
doing
be
a
doing an
ceremony. If you've
experience,
seen
right?
Kentucky ayahuasca, you could
Right.
be doing ceremonies in somebody's house.
That's
And if you've
right.
seen Kentucky ayahuasca, that man is, he's great, first of all. But, he just got out of jail. He learned how to do this in jail. And he's
Oh,
inviting people over his house to, give them ayahuasca. And now
oh,
he's effective, but that's just not the experience I want.
okay. I gotta watch it. Kentucky
You do have
ayahuasca.
to watch it. It's
Watch it.
amazing.
Oh, I'm watching it immediately. Okay, so okay, we made it sound very light and fluffy, but it's intense, and
No.
so there could be downsides and effects and implications. What would you
Yes.
say are maybe some possible downsides or things to
Yeah.
consider?
So I would say if you're a healthy person, you need to understand that, and this is what scares people away from doing it. And doing ayahuasca is for the strong. So that's all I can say. If you're scared, this is not what you want because she will pick up on your fear. And if you disrespect her or you come in there playing around, you gonna face some stuff that the drag. You gonna get dragged. It's
Oh,
gonna be a
I
very
understand.
unpleasant experience. And
Okay.
so, some people come in there thinking it's a joke, or you come in there to do some recreational drugs, and it ain't that.
I
So,
understand.
and she doesn't play well with that marijuana. That is another type of plant medicine that does not go well with the other. And you will
Okay.
basically waste your money because you won't have any type of experience.
Okay.
So,
Any effects for you after you left there? Because you've done it several times. Like, I'm
yeah.
dehydrated, my stomach hurt, my head hurt.
Oh, the only effects that you'll have will be during the ceremony. So when you like Google stuff and they tell you all the downsides to it, they're talking about what happens while you're in the ceremony. While you're in the ceremony, you more than likely will throw up. If you don't throw up, you might be pooping on
Mm,
yourself. If you're not doing that, you'll be crying, or you probably will have a stomach ache because all those bad things and all those bad feelings, they're going to be, basically bubbling up in your stomach until you
that's
do
it.
throw up.
That's it.
You'll scream. People were doing things like light talking, they call it, and they were saying gibberish. It's kind of like speaking in tongues in church.
Yeah, it's kind of like
And then
speaking
when
in
they
tongues.
woke up, they had no idea they had done any of that.
Mm,
um
okay.
I will say this again: if you are on any kind of psychoactive medication, you could die. You could have a seizure and die
Mm.
doing ayahuasca. So you really have to find some place that is
Oh,
careful with you and your
that's
health
right.
and can get you to
And
a
then
hospital if you need to.
the type of diagnosis you have. Like you said, schizophrenia, I know for sure. No, no. I wonder about
Yes.
bipolar disorder, because that's another tricky one. Do they talk
They
about
say any
that?
type of medicine that's a like a SIAD, if you're on medication, get off of it. That's all I got. And if you need to
Okay,
be on it,
okay,
you probably
okay.
shouldn't be doing this. Okay.
But no, but you were
And
saying
I
that
say
if
this
you
because Soul
actually,
Quest did have somebody that died there. And the reason why they are
oh,
not operating today is because, and this happened like years ago before they had all these medical implications in place.
people.
But
Okay, got it.
the reason why they are not here is because that family sued and they are bankrupt, basically.
Oh,
So
man.
I know people are gonna try to look up Soul Quest and be like, why is it not there? So that's why I'm saying
Gotcha. But
this.
that's why it's not there. Okay. So this was
Mhm.
years ago that you did it.
No, this was, well, yeah, this was 2022 and 2023.
2022. Okay, okay. And then you said I
Yeah,
have plans to go again.
I do want to go back.
Which one you want to go to?
I
Where do you want to
think
go?
I don't know. That's the thing. I'm very partial to where I went. I know they're gonna take care of me. I know if I bring somebody, they'll be well taken care of. The people that ran the church, I think, have another church that they've started.
Okay.
So I'm just, I'm looking around. I'm looking for the right time, but I do have intentions on going back. I feel like I've kind of gotten lazy in, I don't know, just lazy. I don't know. I feel like it's a good
It's time for a
time.
reset.
It's been long
Yeah,
enough to kind of purge and see what else she has for me
that's
and
it.
wants me to know.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely gives me comfort knowing you have gone several times, but you also went to the same place several times,
Same
correct?
place.
Same
Hmm.
place. Okay. So that was Soul Quest,
Yes, it's called Soul Quest. Uh-huh.
but that one's
And
not
there's a
here.
if you want to see more about them, there's a
Yes.
documentary that they have on Netflix, Unwell.
Okay.
That's what the documentary
Oh,
is
is that
called, and they're
them?
one of the episodes. Yeah.
I saw
Hmm.
that on, okay, because I love watching documentaries. It's on my list of things to watch. Okay, I will be watching that immediately. Okay. Okay, well, I'm not going to
Yes.
take up too much more of your time. Was there anything else we forgot? This was amazing. This is awesome. Thank you so much. I think
Yes.
I'm pretty
So
sold. I
speaking
think
of
I'm pretty sold.
documentaries, I have a list
Okay.
of documentaries if you want to do some more research. So I talked a lot about Kentucky ayahuasca. Before you watch that, I would start with it's called Ayahuasca, The Vine of the Soul. You
Okay.
can watch it for free on YouTube. All these you can watch
YouTube.
for free on YouTube.
Okay. Okay.
And then you should watch Kentucky Ayahuasca after that. Kentucky Ayahuasca is pretty crazy. So if you're scared, you don't want to watch that first.
That
And
ain't the one.
then,
Okay, got it. Mhm.
but if you are somebody who's like going through addiction, have, going through a tough time in your life, you might want to start there.
I think them the first
And
people that need to
then,
be on there. Yes, they need. I think it's a great. It sounds like a really great idea for people with addictions. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And if you're a
Cool.
veteran, I will say when I was there, the most people I saw were first responders,
Oh
pirates,
wow, because
pilots,
they carry so much
first
trauma.
responders,
Yeah. Oh
and
wow.
veterans.
Yeah.
And
People with
so they,
PTSD probably.
Soul Quest has a documentary called From Shock to Awe. It is
Okay.
their documentary specifically for veterans and what the experience has been doing ayahuasca and what their experience is like after. And so I highly
Okay.
recommend those. There's plenty more on YouTube, but those are the ones you should start with.
One last question. Um, it is becoming a more popular thing, I think, because celebrities or athletes or
Mhm.
rappers are partaking in it. Do you think that will have a positive or negative effect? Sometimes things give things a bad rap, or do you think it's gonna be good and a good, like, you don't want capitalism to come in and make it like, oh, now you just hit a lick, you open an ayahuasca camp and boom. Do you think that's
Yeah.
gonna happen, or do they protect it pretty well, you think?
No, it is a huge problem, and which is why I wanted to go to Peru. So the vines take years to grow, years and years and years, and they are being over harvested to the point where like they're not able to like grow them fast enough. And
Gotcha.
of course, this is becoming popularized not only in Peru, but obviously in the States.
Yeah.
And so when you have well now we have like Will Smith and Jake Paul,
Yep.
let me see, like
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers talking about doing ayahuasca, and
Hmm.
hey, I know exactly what they're talking about. But that more people are seeking the medicine, and so now you're having people who learn how to become shamans in jail, uh,
Exactly.
you
Oh, we
know,
always got to remember
taking
that
people into
part.
their home and doing
Yeah.
these very sacred ceremonies with them. And again, the guy that does it on Kentucky ayahuasca, he's doing it, but it's
Hmm.
not authentic. And
Got
it
you. I'm
aids
with you.
in we need to conserve this vine because
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
what,
once people
it'll be
really get a hold of
cultural
it and once it's
appropriation all over again.
legalized,
Yeah, total
yeah, there won't be
appropriate.
enough for everybody.
Can't
And a
have
lot
it.
of the documentaries that you'll see on ayahuasca are about that very thing, being
Oh.
conserving the plant.
Okay, got it. Got it. Well, thank you so much. Everybody go and follow my girl Tara at Tara Intense. So dope. I'm probably gonna go with her next time because she already knows the deal. So you let me know when you going, and then I'll book
I
my trip and
will.
travel with you. Okay, girl? Because yeah, intense, but I'm sold on it. I believe. Yeah. But thank you so much. We won't take any more of your time. You have a good day. Peace and light to you, and thank you so much for sharing your story.
All
All
right.
right,
Bye.
family,
Thanks for
it's your
having
girl
me.
Genesis Blue, and we are gonna see you on another episode of the Blue Room. But I really suggest you going to check out ayahuasca and watching some of these documentaries that she has spoke of. But in the meantime, you can keep checking in with me. I'll be right here. It's your girl Genesis Blue, the Blue Room Show. We out. Peace.